So, so to start off with today's session, I think it's really important that we take some time right now to really acknowledge and understand the importance of celebrating something that you are doing in your life, something that this is an opportunity for you to acknowledge something that is working. And I invite us all to do this because the energy is really strong right now around this particular point. If we are complaining in any way, and I really want you to hear this because I've heard it from valuable sources. If at the moment we're complaining in any way, we're actually praying against ourselves. So we're actually like telling on ourselves. And what it's doing is that the complaining is magnifying the complaint. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want that.
Yeah.
And so how do we counteract complaining is that we step into acknowledging and celebrating instead. So we're going to go around the room as we go through this, and I'd invite you to celebrate something, either about the plan, about how you're feeling about yourself, or about some other success in your life, or something you'd like to simply acknowledge. And let that be how we lead today. So who would like to start? Who would like to celebrate something? I'm going to start with you, Tony, because you just look like you've got something to share.
Cool. It's only a really small celebration, but I'm on day 4. And I was out and about today and nearly grabbed for a chocolate bar and I didn't. Yay!
Yay! It's huge.
Brilliant. Well done.
That's amazing. Love it. All right, Danny, what's something that you can celebrate today? Oh, you're on mute, honey. Yes. You're on mute. Oh, you can't unmute yourself, perhaps? Is that what you're trying to say to us? You can't. Okay, all good. Or you can just type it for us then. That'd be great. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Deb, what's something that you can celebrate today?
I think I have to think about that one. I don't know. I'm in a good place at the moment.
There you go.
I
Just
can't
celebrate
really
that.
pinpoint one particular thing, basically.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really good. I'm
I am in a good place. I did
Yeah,
4 days of Tony Robbins. Yeah, diet's going well.
Excellent.
I don't know. Yeah, so in a good place overall.
That's
magic.
huge. And that, you see that it's actually as simple as that.
Yeah.
Which is really wonderful. Awesome. Bronwyn, what about you?
I've been feeling so much better, and I think that's just so great because I've been absolutely exhausted every afternoon, and I finally found that I'm not so tired anymore, and I think my body's now getting used to this way of eating, and the weight's coming off. I mean, I never lose quickly generally, and that's fine. That's just how my body is, and I have to, go with that. But anything else I've tried in the last few years has absolutely not worked at all. I've lost next to nothing. So the fact that I've lost, almost 4 kilos is amazing for me. And I can just really see the benefits, and it's really how I feel. And I mean, I just really like to wine every evening, and I'm just not doing that now. And it's absolutely fine. I don't need to be doing that. Oh, and I just wanted to just talk about the night at the movies, because I said I had to take my nephew to the movies, and I didn't really need any snacks. I did take a few little bits and pieces that could have got me through if I needed to, but that popcorn thing is just a mind over matter. And I bought my nephew a big box of popcorn, and I didn't really care. I mean, I love popcorn, but I don't need it, and it's just we think we do because that's what happens at the movies, and it's absolutely fine to not have it. And I was really I was really glad about that, because it's
Mm.
kind of like a bit of an obstacle. You sort of think, oh no, I can't go to the movies because I want popcorn and I won't be able to have it. And it's just, well, just because it's something you've always done doesn't mean you have to keep doing that.
Mm.
Brilliant.
So true. And this is what we're here for, right? We're here to break old patterns and behaviors. Mm. Nice. Excellent. Suzanne, how about you?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. This is my first call.
Yay, welcome. Mm.
Yay, yeah, thank you. And I've worked with Karen before. I know you asked one thing, but I'm saying two things. I've just had a bath with Epsom salts, and it was just profound.
Oh,
And and secondly, today is just day 2 of my, the 2 load days.
Mm.
And I so didn't want junk food today. Like, it was really hard to, like, I gave myself permission to have whatever I wanted, and all I had was some hot chips because that's my favorite thing. And then had this huge piece of salmon and avocado, and I just feel so ready for day 1 tomorrow.
mm.
Yeah, so just it's all good.
Oh, that's amazing. Well done. Can't wait to see how you go. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Love it. Awesome. Diane, what are you celebrating? Are you able to share with us? We've got you on mute at the moment, so if you can take yourself off mute.
There we go. Sorry,
Love
I
it.
didn't know how to do it. So there you go. I've learned something new
There you go.
on that one.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me, I know I've lost weight in my face, and that's the first place I put it. And so I just look like a big, happy person because my face is always big. And so it's been really nice because I've now been changing my photo, for everything, your Facebook photo, all of that sort of stuff. And I swear I look younger, way younger. So, yeah, very pleased.
Excellent.
Thank you.
We should call it the longevity diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep on doing updates as I, get
Yeah.
better.
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yeah, and share it with
Awesome.
our Facebook group too. It's so cool. Amazing. Now, I'm very aware that Leanne and Michelle are both driving. And if you feel safe enough to come off and share with us something that you are celebrating, please do. Otherwise, please drive safely. So it looks like you both are driving. Awesome, fantastic. So I'm celebrating that even though it was pouring with rain this morning, I went for a beautiful walk and did my Pilates. So that's the exercise that I'm bringing into the program, which I'm really enjoying. And it just helps to keep my body feeling good. So I'm celebrating that I did that. Yeah. Awesome. And Karen, did you want to share, and then you can take over into what you're sharing
Okay.
tonight?
I suppose it's got nothing to do with the program. I'm just really proud of myself for starting an affiliate program, which is basically where anyone can share the program and get rewarded for it. And I've been meaning to do this for absolutely years and years, but I haven't found the platform, and now I've done it. And I'm really proud of myself for actually getting my head around it. So I'm just hoping it works. So that's So that's me. And so so right, today's call, of course, is all about releasing stress before it becomes chronic. So I've actually done a PowerPoint thing. And so I'm just going to see if I can get it to work. I had it a minute ago. Okay, right. Okay, so just going to get on to here and share and all that sort of stuff. Oh, right. Okay, share screen. There we go. It'll be there in a minute. So just bear with me. This one. Got so many screens up here. Right, I'm hoping that you can see the screen with releasing stress before it becomes chronic. I'm hoping that you can see that. Can anyone tell me, Catherine, is it there? Is it where it's meant to be? Okay, obviously.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Sorry.
As we go through this presentation, please, please, please take notes, as I'm going to get you to commit to at least 2 of the suggestions I'm going to present to you here. And if I'm going to ask some questions as we go through as well. So just so that you know, this is a really, really important component of the program. We need to make sure that we really, really do release unwanted stress from our body. As you know, I've talked about stress levels a lot and why it affects your weight. However, I wanted to dive deeper into other reasons and what goes on in our bodies when we're under chronic stress. So why do we have to be aware of stress levels? When you're stressed, your body activates the fight or flight response, releasing hormones such as cortisols and adrenaline. These hormones increase your heart rate, respiration, and blood pressure, as well as suppressing functions such as digestion and immune response. Normally, the effects are temporary and are intended to help you respond to a perceived threat. Now, chronic stress can negatively impact your health, such as increased risk of heart disease, digestive problems, and a weakened immune system. And this is definitely something that we really don't want. So if you continue to stay in stress mode, and what does chronic stress actually mean? What stress are you feeling right now? Are you having financial stress? Are you not doing what you said you were going to do to yourself? Because that can cause an inward stress. And of course, the recent flooding, many people are being stressed because they just don't know what's going to happen next. And many of these aren't chronic, but they can accumulate if we allow them to. So the chronic stress occurs when the stress response persists over a long period of time. When the stress response is activated repeatedly, the levels of cortisols and other stress hormones in the body remain elevated, which can lead to the following effects. Suppression of the immune system. Chronic stress can weaken the immune system, making you more susceptible to illnesses and infections, such as colds, flu, digestive issues. And also, when our digestion is impaired, you're more likely to be affected by parasites of all types. Now, the reason for this, of course, is your immune system is not on alert anymore. And so it's not going to kill off those parasites, and so they can take hold. Weight gain due to insulin resistance and lowered leptin response. If we have too much insulin, I've talked about this before, it can lead to metabolic syndrome. If we have a lowered leptin response, then the hypothalamus doesn't get the message that the fat cells are full, and so our appetite doesn't get turned off. Leptin is a hormone that comes from our fat cells and tells the hypothalamus that the fat cells are full. So that is when we literally don't have a off switch for our appetite. And I'm sure some of you have been like me when you're under a hugely stressful situation and you just gravitate towards the food that you normally gravitate to. And so that's a really important component of stress. Okay, this one you may not know is hormonal imbalances. Hormonal imbalances can be caused by chronic stress, which can disrupt the delicate balance of hormones within the body, leading to conditions such as adrenal fatigue. Now, when you reach menopause age, we have the double whammy of the adrenals have to take over from the ovaries. The ovaries, as you know, create progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. When they close down during perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, then the adrenals have to take over the production of this. And so this is when we get adrenal fatigue, of course, because the adrenals are then doing the job of two glands rather than just one. And if the adrenals have been running on overtime anyway, that is where severe fatigue can really kick in. And so it's really a very normal response with women when we go through menopause. And often we get over it because we start slowing down and everything else. But then we come to cardiovascular problems. Chronic stress can increase blood pressure and heart rate, leading to a higher risk of heart disease, stroke, and other cardiovascular problems. And so elevated stress levels can really make a big difference. And we all have heard of the executive who had a heart attack because he was so stressed. Now, cognitive effects. Chronic stress can impair memory and concentration and contribute to mood disorders such as anxiety and depression. Digestive problems, as I said before, chronic stress can lead to digestive issues such as irritable bowel syndrome, acid reflux, and abdominal pain. And then we come to, last but by no means least in this list, is sleep problems. Chronic stress can interfere with sleep, leading to insomnia and other sleep disorders. So we're going to focus today on cortisol, as it is, for what we're working on, the most critical. Now, why do we need to make sure that this gets cleared? Because if we have too much cortisol running around in our body on a daily basis, this can cause chronic disease. Long-term increased cortisol may increase your risk for high blood pressure, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, and other chronic diseases. And like just stress, weight gain, cortisols may increase appetite and signal the body to shift metabolism to store fat due to leptin resistance and insulin resistance. Lack of energy, difficulty in sleeping. It can interfere with sleep hormones, which may impact sleep quality and length. Difficulty in concentrating, also referred to as brain fog. Some people report trouble focusing and lack of mental clarity. Impaired immune system. Increased cortisols can hamper the immune system, making it more difficult to fight infections. So basically, we've doubled up on a lot of those, but I just really want to hammer home how important stripping your body of excess cortisols on a regular basis is. Now you're on the program, you should be calming down as far as stress levels are concerned. So basically what I mean by that is because we have taken one level of stress off your body, and that is eating low inflammatory foods. By eating low inflammatory foods, we can take one layer of stress off. And also the remedies really help with that as well. So it helps switch our body out of stress response so we don't have this cascade of cortisol and adrenaline going around in our body. So it's the low inflammatory foods. So if we have low inflammatory foods, then we're reducing a level of cortisol. And of course, if you're having inflammatory foods all the time, you start an allergy response, which is all to do with our hormones and everything else. And so, okay, so we now, however, we need to develop some long-term strategies to help you clear cortisol on a regular basis. I'm going to itemize some suggestions here, and I'm sure you'll find one or two that will be easy to fit your regular schedule. So what I'd like you to do as we go through them, just make notes as to the ones that feel like could fit in with your lifestyle. And what I would suggest is pick not necessarily the ones that come easiest, but pick the ones that you go to yourself, oh, that could be interesting. And you'll see what I mean as we go along. So you might be doing one or two of these without even realizing, and so you might be protecting yourself anyway. So I just wanted to sort of go through that. Here's some ideas for you. Now, this one is really important, having a regular sleep pattern. So we want to help your beautiful body, and so really see if they resonate. These are some strategies for regular sleep that I normally give to clients who have insomnia. So having a regular bedtime routine, establishing a consistent bedtime routine, e.g. shower, read a book, listen to something, listen to some white noise, listen to a talking book or something that can tell your brain and body to start winding down for the night. Go to bed and wake up at roughly the same time each day. A regular sleep schedule is one of the most effective ways to improve sleep. Exercising earlier in the day. Exercising regularly can really help improve sleep quality, but it should be done at least 2 to 3 hours before bed, simply because exercise raises your stress levels, but we'll go into that a bit later. Limit caffeine intake. Stop consuming caffeine-containing foods and drinks about 6 hours before bedtime. Now, I know that I have to limit it at least 9 hours before bed, and some people will be less and some people will be more. But if you do have trouble sleeping, then knock the caffeine back to as early as you possibly can. Stop nicotine and alcohol, and I'm sure you lovely ladies are not doing any of those anyway when you're on the program. Okay. that's my telling off voice. Limit exposure to bright light at night. Around 45 to 60 minutes before sleep, reduce your exposure to bright and blue light. As example, again, reading a book or listening to a podcast instead of reaching for your phone in bed. I would actually extend that and say, do not have any electronic gear in your bedroom when you sleep. Even one of those digital alarm clocks, I wouldn't have. If you're going to have an alarm clock, get a manual one. The digital alarm clocks with their LED display can actually really interfere with your sleep patterns. Go to bed in a quiet room. Limit interruptions using white noise, earplugs, and silencing your phone, or don't have it in your room. Take naps. If you work in shift work and it shortens your sleep, napping can reduce the sleepiness and prevent a sleep deficit. That's saying if you don't have weird and wonderful hours, then napping may worsen sleep quality in non-shift workers. So if you are working or you just have a regular day, then try not to nap too much. Unless, of course, if you're exhausted, have a rest. Do not hesitate with that. But if you make it a regular thing, it might impair your level of sleep at night. I'm hoping this makes sense. I'll just see if there's any questions. No, not so far. Okay. Exercise, but only a little. Depending on the intensity of exercise, it can increase or decrease cortisol levels. Intense exercise increases cortisol shortly afterwards, but will decrease a few hours later. This short-term increase helps coordinate the growth of the body to meet the challenge. Additionally, the size of the cortisol response lessens with routine training. Numerous studies have shown regular exercise to help improve sleep quality, reduce stress, and improve overall health, which can help lower cortisol over time. Interesting, regular exercise has also been associated with greater resilience to acute stress and may lower adverse health effects related to stress, such as high cortisol. That said, overdoing it can have the opposite effect. So you should stick to a gentle walking for 10 minutes to an hour each day. I should say day, not week, and allow yourself time to rest between workouts. Now, if you are already in an established exercise regime and you're not feeling exhausted or anything else, then keep on with that. If, however, you've just started the program or you've only been on it for a short period of time, wait until you get a burst of energy and then start slowly. So this is why I say don't start a new exercise regime when you start the program. We need to take levels of stress off. We've taken the level of stress off with the food. We don't need to put another layer of stress on with exercise. Now, one of my lovely ladies, very early on in my weight loss journey, so it would have been 13 years ago, lovely Lillian had lost over 57 kilos. She was on heart medication, blood medication, cholesterol medication, and some pain medication, and there was a few others in there. So she was taking 8 medications before she started. She was taken off all of those, I'm pleased to say. And once she had lost the weight, she started running, and she felt so good on it. But we made sure that she had enough nutrition and everything else to just make sure that she could keep doing it. And as far as I know, she's still doing brilliantly well, because I haven't heard from her. Normally, no news is good news as far as my clients are concerned. And so this is where I just want to emphasize, you can exercise, but wait until you've taken all the levels of stress off your body. Now, also, the other thing is learning to recognize stressful thinking. So paying attention to stressful thoughts may help you reduce them. So basically, it's paying attention to what your self-talk is. Stress reduction is a strategy that involves becoming more self-aware of stress-provoking thoughts, accepting them without judgment or resistance, and allowing yourself to process them. Training yourself to be aware of your thoughts, breathing and heart rate, and other signs of tension helps you recognize stress when it begins. By focusing on your mental and physical state, you can become an objective observer of your stressful thoughts instead of a victim. Recognizing stressful thoughts allows you to formulate a conscious and deliberate reaction to them. Studies have also shown lowered cholesterol levels after regularly observing yourself, so that it becomes a habitual way of being. Just as an example, I can't remember how many years ago it was probably about 12 years ago. We went through a very difficult time business-wise, and basically we had a dip in our income, and we couldn't afford to pay the tax from the previous year because the previous year had been a boomer and we'd reinvested, and we had trouble with the tax man. And so every time the phone rang and it said private number, I had this stress response. My heart would pound, I'd get all sweaty, I'd get all tongue-tied and everything. So when I answered it, I was in a mess. And then what I taught myself was basically, they can't do anything to me. That basically it's me who's in control of this. They can't do anything to me. So I started to do, when I saw the private number, I just used to do a few breathing exercises, and I picked up the phone and I was in control then. And so it's just a small example, but the thing is once you recognize what you're doing, then you have all the power back. And I think it's really important that we take our power back as far as stress is concerned. And then we come on to deep breathing, of course. Deep breathing is a simple stress reduction technique that can be used anywhere. Similar to being the observer, as we previously talked about, controlled breathing can help to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, known as the rest and digest system, which helps lower cortisol levels. Of course, you can incorporate this with other practices, like I'm sure you're doing already, like meditation, Tai Chi, Pilates, yoga, all of those sorts of things that can help you in many ways. There's one technique that I've used over and over again over the last 20 years, and I really, really recommend it. Now, it can be done anywhere, but only do it a couple of times if you're driving, especially when you first start using it, because you can get a little bit dizzy when you get that rush of oxygen going into your system. So I'm going to take you through it, and I'd love for you to join in with me. So basically, all we're going to do is we're going to breathe in through your nose for a count of 5, take it down into your belly, and then hold your breath for a count of 6. And then breathe out again through your nose for a count of 7. So, okay, are you ready? Okay, here we go. Breathe in. Hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then breathe out through your nose for a count of 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It can really help calm you down. You can feel your heart just go, just calm and bring calmness in. So I'd love to hear how anyone feels about that when we finish this little sequence. So just jot down how you're feeling after doing the deep breathing, because I'd be interested, and also how you use it moving forward. You can do other breathing techniques, of course, but that one's the one I've used time after time. It's so easy. Okay, there's a few other ones, and this one is having a good laugh. Find a comedy series or movie that you know really cheers you up. This can really reduce cortisol levels, having fun and laugh. Laughing promotes the release of endorphins and suppresses stress hormones such as cortisol. It's also linked with better mood, reduced stress and perceived pain, lower blood pressure, and a more robust immune system. Interestingly, authentic and forced laughter can lead to lower stress levels. So fake it till you make it, ladies, with your laughing and all that sort of stuff. If you're not feeling very happy, smile. Believe it or not, just the act of smiling can actually start the stress reduction. Yep, it's really, really important. The other thing, maintaining healthy relationships. Relationships can fill you up or bring you down. So friends and family are a source of great happiness and significant stress. These dynamics are played out in cortisol levels. And did you know cortisol is incorporated in tiny amounts in your hair? The quantities of cortisol along a hair's length corresponds to the cortisol levels in that part of the hair when it was growing. So, for example, they reckon an inch, I don't know how many, it depends on how fast your hair grows, but so basically, researchers can estimate when you were stressed. And so the quantities of cortisol is a really important thing. And so the studies of cortisol in the hair show that children with a stable and warm family life have lower levels than children from homes with high levels of conflict. So support from loved ones can also help reduce cortisol in the face of stress. So have you anyone in your life that really lifts you up and makes you feel good? Or conversely, do you have anyone in your life that really, really drains you? If you have someone that brings you up, spend more time with them than the ones that drain you. It's going to help you big time in the long run. I'm not saying you have to drop the ones that drain you, by the way, although you might choose to. But I think having healthy relationships that are a win-win situation is so very valuable in this life. A few other things. Looking after a pet. Relationship with animal companions can reduce cortisol. Several studies show that interacting with an animal companion reduces stress and lowers cortisol levels. Even if you don't own a pet, interacting with another person's pet can reap similar benefits. Be your best self. What do I mean by that? Releasing feelings of shame, guilt, or inadequacy. That can lead to negative thinking and elevate cortisol. Conversely, if you feel good about yourself by saying the things like we did when we started this call about how good you feel about doing A, B, C, you're going to reduce your levels of cortisol. So maybe being your best self might be what Catherine recommends is doing a gratitude journal and writing down all the things you're grateful for, morning or evening, so that you are filling yourself up. You have to forgive yourself for anything that you feel that you've done something wrong, and you also have to accept yourself and others, and that will improve your sense of well-being. And also, if you consider yourself spiritual, developing your spirituality can also help improve cortisol levels. Studies show that adults who express spiritual faith experienced lower cortisol levels in the face of life stressors such as illness. You notice that, you know, when we get stressed, we tend to pray when we don't tend to at other times. Now, this is the one that people are going to go, oh, or they'll go, oh yeah, I love that. Cold showers. I'm going to go into detail with this because it's really important, I feel. This one is a hard one to take on board, but once you get into the swing of it, it really can help your cortisol levels, plus much more. And I would also say, for us in New Zealand, this is the perfect time to start doing cold showers because the water is not quite as cold as what it will be later on. So we can start acclimatizing to having the cold showers. Now, you can do either a hot shower and then finish with a cold one, or you can go all in and do a cold shower. There's no right or wrong way with this. There are some people who suggest that you do a 10-minute shower. Now, I'm not one of these people who spends a long time in the shower. So 10 minutes to me seems like an enormously long time. So I do about 3 or 4 minutes. And to be honest, it's the first shock. And then it just feels like a normal shower. So why? It can help lower your cortisol levels. Plus, hence it lowers the cortisol levels, so it increases all of these things. Boosts your immune system, improves circulation, increases alertness and energy, promotes relaxation and reduces stress, reduces depression and anxiety. The cold showers do this by creating a spike of noradrenaline, which is a hormone that counters the cortisol and adrenal response in a positive way. This hormone can also help to increase your ability to memorize and focus. Now, basically, what noradrenaline does is counteracts cortisol, so helps clear them from your body. It also supports healthy skin and hair, aids weight loss. And the reason for this is, it's quite interesting, this is what it does is it stimulates the production of brown fat cells. That increases your metabolic flexibility. And so basically the fat cells have the metabolic furnace in, so it's got much more mitochondria in the brown fat cells, and so they fire up and our metabolic rate goes up. It also decreases white fat cells, and white fat cells are your unwanted body fat cells. So basically it increases brown, which is your metabolic furnace, decreases white, which is your unwanted stuff. So the slimmer you get, the more brown cells you have. Okay, improves mental toughness. Well, of course it will do if you can stand under a cold shower for 10 minutes, it improves your mental toughness, but it also improves mental clarity. Increases insulin sensitivity, and it also helps longevity by stimulating autophagy. And this in simple terms turns negative cells into positive cells. And that I'm going to go over that in another day. But it's a really, really important one, because if you can do a cold shower daily, you can incorporate this in your regime. It's going to make a huge difference to your health and well-being going forward. So that's my favorite little one thing. So other supplements that can help. Fish oil. Fish oil is one of the best sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which are thought to reduce in a trial over 3 weeks showed that fish oil significantly lowered cortisol levels in response to a stressful task compared to a placebo. Now, this trial over 3 weeks isn't really long enough, but there's other studies that have been showing up. And so another study showed that those with high omega-3 levels in the blood were associated with lower levels of inflammation and cortisol. However, please be careful where you source your supplements from. Now, the reason I say that is when I was working for a supplement company, we got hold of a variety of different fish oil capsules and snipped them open. The stench from them was absolutely horrendous. They were rancid, and you would never have believed it just by the capsule. So just be careful where you source your supplements from. I personally use fermented cod liver oil. And the reason is because it comes from a really good source. It's a New Zealand company, and they have a really good reputation. Fermented means that it's much more bioavailable. And although cod liver oil contains a bit less omega-3 than the fish oil, it is a more absorbable form, and so you can actually utilize more of it. And it also contains high levels of vitamin D, K, and vitamin A, so hugely beneficial. Ashwagandha, also known as withania, is an adaptogen. So an adaptogenic herb basically means that it can help your body to cope with excess stress. Ashwagandha is one of the most go-to ones because basically it helps with overall stress. There are other adaptogens that can help you with various other things, like the ones below here, which is ginseng, cordyceps, holy basil, which is also known as tulsi, moringa, reishi mushrooms, rhodiola, schisandra, shivatiri, shilajit, and bacoba. Now, rhodiola is one of the best herbs I know to help counter depression and anxiety. And it's also because it helps with the stress level, but it's a specific antidepressant. And it's also really good if anyone you know is trying to come off medical antidepressants. You can take them alongside one another so you can wean yourself off of medication gently. If this is you, talk to me about it, because we have to do it very, very carefully along with your doctor. Bacoba is one of the best herbs I know, along with ginkgo biloba, that helps with cognitive disorders. It can also really be useful for people who have had multiple concussions. It's really useful. That bacoba is an amazing, amazing herb for brain. And so, yeah, the others have various other uses as well, but I just wanted to talk to you about that one. Now, I have got another slide that seems to have been missed off here, and I'll talk about it first. So there's 3 supplements I highly recommend, and you know one of them is going to be magnesium. Magnesium, 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 please, please use it. Use your gel as often as you possibly can. It is really, really important that we do have enough magnesium. It's a vital component to your health and well-being. Oops, I'm just going to see if I can find that slide, which should have been here, which I must have missed. Here we are, magnesium. So use your magnesium gel. The more you use it, the better off you'll be. Put an alarm on your phone to remind you 4, 5, 6 times a day, especially when you're topping yourself up. It's really important. Zinc. Having enough foods that contain zinc is an excellent way of getting all the zinc you need. However, until you're topped up with magnesium, and we talked about, I think last week, about how we need magnesium to make enough digestive enzymes. We need digestive enzymes to digest and utilize all the nutrition. So if you feel that you need to take a zinc supplement, if, for example, your immune system is a little bit on the low side, then take a zinc supplement. I would recommend liquid, and until your magnesium is topped up. And so, however, zinc containing foods that are on the list are oysters, chicken, especially chicken legs, red meat, eggs, spinach, and asparagus. They're the highest levels of zinc you can get. And interestingly enough, The animal foods are much easier to digest and utilize and absorb zinc from. Now, there's a big reason behind that, because zinc needs protein to be absorbed. So that makes sense, doesn't it? So if you're going to take a zinc supplement, take it with your food when you're having protein. The other thing I would really recommend to help stripping cortisol is theanine. And I'm not saying a supplement. This amino acid comes primarily from green and white tea. Now, white tea, for those of you who don't know, is not tea, black tea with milk in it. White tea is a higher form of green tea. So basically, it used to be used by the emperors because it was the white buds on top of the tea, and it used to be very rare. But now you can get it, and you can get some really nice ones. And it's really, both of those are really effective in clearing cortisol. You can have unlimited amounts of white tea and green tea. Remember, however, it does contain small amounts of caffeine, so don't have it too close to bedtime if caffeine affects your sleep. As a water-soluble amino acid, thiamine is absorbed through the intestines, and peak plasma concentrations occur about 50 minutes after drinking. It's really, really good for you if you are studying, or I used to recommend theanine supplements for students who are sort of cramming for exams, because it really helps concentration levels. Theanine can also be found in some mushrooms, but in very, very small amounts. Right, now I can go back to where I was. Sorry about that, ladies. Now, there we are. Here we go. Now, tension can be caused by trapped emotions, and this is what trapped cortisol can do. Shoulder tension, burdens and responsibilities. Neck tension, fear and repressed self-expression. Upper back, grief, sorrow and sadness. Middle back, insecurity and powerlessness. Lower back, guilt, shame and unworthiness. I also associate lower back with financial stress too. Stomach, inability to process emotions. So if you're suffering with any of those, I would like you to just have a drop into that and see what feels right for you. Because if it feels right for you, then it's definitely releasing cortisol could be a really way of releasing those trapped emotions. So hopefully this information will help you as time goes by to keep the health gains you have already created and help you make even more. The main reason I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to continue and never have a problem with your health and your weight again. This is the object for me. I want you to know what you can do to empower yourself to be stress-free. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now and see. I would like you to, where are we? Stop. No, stop. Hang on, I'm going to do a bit of pause share. Stop share, that's one. Stop share, that's it. Okay, right, ladies, what I would like to know is, can you please, if you want to write it in the chat, I would love to know which one you would like to commit to for the next week or so. And if anyone would like to say, put their hand up and go, me, I'd like to share. I can't see. Deborah, you've unmuted yourself, so I'm assuming that you put your hand up.
No, that was actually quite by accident.
Aha! No such thing as accidents, eh, Deborah?
Well, actually, I've committed to quite a lot of that just yesterday because it's such bad weather. So Catherine knows I did a big personal plan and a business plan at the start of the year.
Excellent.
And I decided that every month I'd renew where I was up to on it.
Right.
And so I did that yesterday, and really looked at like my morning routine, my evening routine, and then I 5 things I was going to commit to every day and 5 things I was going to commit to weekly,
Right.
which is like, yeah, you know, like the meditation, the walking, the beach walks. I even printed and put it on my wall so I didn't forget, because I realized the first month when I did it at the start of the year, having it in a 30-page plan, you don't refer to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually yesterday streamlined it and then stuck it on by my morning mirror. You know, so yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
I
Seeing
might
it
take
in the
up
morning,
the
does it?
cold shower though, but I'm a real chicken at that because I have my shower as hot as you can actually have it.
Right.
So I'm one of those people, even in summer. So I might try the cold shower, I think.
So do that. Really get yourself hot. Like
Yeah.
really get yourself hot, and then rack it over to cold. And
Yeah.
even if you can just do a minute, although I
Yeah.
would say if you can do a minute, you can do longer, because basically it's that shock first off that really makes you go, oh, I don't want to do this. But if you can just sustain it for just a little bit longer, you'll get the benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that will
Awesome.
be my biggest challenge, is the cold shower.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe we
We'll
can try
see how
that
you get
together,
on.
Deb, because I'm the same.
Yeah, I'm a chicken with it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent. Thanks, Deb. And thanks, Leanne, going to get off all devices earlier and get to bed earlier. Brilliant. That's a really good idea. Wow, you've got a lovely orange hue there going on there, Catherine.
I have no idea why. I would like to be able to tell you I'm in the sauna or something, but for some reason.
Restful
I
colour.
do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
going to commit to going to bed earlier too.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, that was really good to you know, I mean, what you shared there was everything that, you know, there's all the stuff that all the good stuff that we know, right? And it's just so good to be reminded. But I think for me, I could definitely get to bed earlier and commit to doing something relaxing before I go to sleep, you know, like reading a few pages, as opposed to, you know, having my laptop beside me or watching telly or something. Not that I do that much, but just find my ways to zone out. So
it's really quite interesting because you know, if we think about it, we are surrounded by this soup of electromagnetic fields, and if we can not have them in our bedroom, we'll be so much better off, really, because it's another stress, you know. So having that level of stress with electromagnetic fields can be quite detrimental to the central.
What about when you put it on? Because I put mine on because I use my phone for white noise, because I love the sound of just this white noise. It just fills in all the spaces. But I turn off my Wi-Fi and my data, so it's literally just that. So
can you do that in airplane mode?
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, there's like, you can't call me. It's just me with my white noise.
I don't really know, because I think it's still a receptive device. However, you know, it's probably better than having the Wi-Fi on, you know. So it's not sort of you must. It's just preferred, I think, you know, a preferred way of being is not having them. But you know, because I know some people have these white noise machines, don't they? You can get them, which are not got any of the sort of Wi-Fi bit to it, but you know, better than nothing.
What, like a fan?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know enough, but I've never had the need for them, so I've never really wanted. So thank you, Catherine. Now, Bronwyn, thank you for sharing. You're going to try white tea. The one I really used to like, and I don't know if you can still get it, is by Planet Organic. And matcha isn't as good as white or oolong. Oolong's really good. So it's oolong's good for helping reduce cortisols. White tea, green tea, oolong. Matcha has a small amount of component, but not nearly as much as the other three. So not going to hurt you though, Bronwyn, that's for sure. So it's making, and also helps with your levels of liquid, of course, if you have these things, you know. I've been a big fan of white tea for many a year, and it's delish. I haven't had it lately though, so might have to start doing it myself. Right, that's what I'm committing to. I'm going to start doing white tea, and I'm doing my cold showers. So, okay. Anyone else want to put their hand up and share what they're going to do? Leanne's going to do white tea, and she's also going to turn devices off earlier and get to bed earlier. Anyone else? Put your hands up. Danny?
I'm gonna go to bed earlier.
Good,
I
awesome.
have a habit of staying up late and either watching movies or just vegging, but I'd rather go to bed earlier because I wake up very early. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
might as
go
well.
to bed starting tonight.
Okay, so the other thing I didn't mention, I sort of did with the exercise, but one thing that can really, really help, if you've had a particularly stressful day and you can, is go and do a brisk walk or a bike ride or something that gets everything going for 10 minutes. It literally can be that short, and it really can make a big difference. So if, for example, Danny had a really stressful day at work, maybe not in the weather that we happen to have at this present moment in time, but on a normal summer's evening, it would be delightful to go for a brisk walk along the beach. So, you know, I'd really highly recommend you do that on a regular basis, because I know you get stressed at work. So, and anyone else who gets stressed at work, it's a really good idea to leave the office behind and walk for 10 minutes, because it really can help. And it's just that act of getting out in nature helps as well. Because I didn't mention that, but being in nature, standing with a tree can really, really help. You know, those lovely trees just like to embrace you. And so just stand and embrace a tree. They can really, really love you for it. Okay, so I'll put my glasses back on because I can then see what's going on. My glasses were getting all steamed up. Okay, anyone else want to say anything, mention, ask any questions? Any questions about what I've just talked about? Anything you want to? Tony, have you unmuted yourself intentionally, or was that unintentional too?
Yeah, stress is my biggest problem, bigger than food, bigger than anything. My job is extremely stressful and I find it very difficult, but I do use a lot of the things that you've said. So my sleep program, sleep is actually not too bad.
Right.
I have a regular program with that, so that's all right. When the weather is good, we walk our dog at the Botanic Gardens, so out in nature for quite briskly, for about 30 minutes. So try and get regular exercise. It's probably at least 5 times a week. And I've started doing a lot more meditation. So I downloaded the Calm app and I paid for a subscription for that. Yeah. And I heard that one of the most relaxing yoga poses was actually laying on the floor with your butt right up against the wall and with your legs up the wall. So I put the Daily Calm with Tamara Levitt on for 10 minutes and I lay there with my legs up the wall, and that's really helped me. But I still feel it through my body. Like I feel it through my shoulders and I feel tension all the time, and I'm forever going, oh, okay, I got to release that. I feel like all day, every day, I'm going, oh, tension, got to release it. It just doesn't seem to go.
Okay, then I would just make sure you do the magnesium and the zinc. Yeah, make sure you do those. Today.
Yeah.
And make sure, I mean, green tea would be ideal too. So you need to, with the levels of stress you're under, I would highly, highly recommend, Tony, that you do as many of those things as I've just mentioned. And probably there's some other things that are going to come through that you need to do as well. There was something that floated into my brain and floated out, but I'll contact you when it comes back in, because it's obviously relevant to you and not anyone else. So I think because you've only just started, you won't be feeling the benefits as yet. But so maybe later down the track, if we find that you're still feeling that stress, then we might need to put you on some of the adaptogens to get you everything calmed down. Because sometimes, you know, when we're sort of at this end of the pendulum, we need to take you that far to actually bring you down into there. So I think, you know, we just have to, everyone's so uniquely different. And that's what I love about doing this work, is because we're dealing with everyone is doing different things and needs different things. And so that's the beauty of it, you know. So yeah, thank you for sharing, Tony, because I know that the whole stress thing is huge. It's a real huge one. And, you know, there's as many stressors as there are humans, I think, really.
Yeah, I'm certain that the cortisol is why my menopause symptoms were much worse as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just the same as me, you know, absolutely. That's why I got the menopause like I did, just simply because of adrenal, you know. So yeah, bless us, eh? Us humany womanies, aren't we interesting? You know, we're so interesting. Thank you for sharing, Tony. Really appreciate it. And if that thing flies into my head again, I'll message you.
Yes, please. I will try as many of those things as I can.
Yeah, I'm going to put the PowerPoint into the group so you can just download it as a PDF. So you can download it and do whatever you want with it. So yeah, awesome. Okay, anyone else want to ask a question, tell us anything, or if not, I'll just check, make sure no one's Deb,
Thanks.
did you?
Awesome.
Eh?
Thank you.
Thank you from your beautiful orange glow.
Yes, I shall
Just can't believe
work
that.
out what that's all about.
Stunning colour, honestly, really cool. Anyway,
Nice. Awesome.
I'm going to love you all and leave you on this very wet and windy night up here in Auckland, Northland. And I hope that you're all safe and you don't have any problems with the ongoing weather. And keep posting in the Facebook group. We really, really enjoy seeing what you're doing, what you're eating. Thank you all for sharing what you've been sharing. Please continue. And the other thing I didn't mention, actually, it was bowels. I just remembered, because I know
That's a big subject.
Yeah, it's a very big subject, bowels. But just so that you know, I don't know if I think I've told you all before, is I used to be a colonic irrigation therapist. So consequently, there is nothing off limits around the area of bowels. In our family, we used to talk around the dinner table. So please do not hesitate to ask any questions where there is bowels. But I think we're going to cover that topic either next week or the week after. So we will go into the details of why bowels might be a problem. And yeah, it'll be a fascinating call. Anyway, so, well done, Leanne. Win today. Milk thistle and soul combo working. Fantastic. That's always good to hear. So brilliant. Love it, love it, love it. Love it when a plan comes together. All right, my beautiful souls, I will say adieu and wishing you all the most magical week, and keep us letting know your successes. And I think that's a really important one. We need to know your successes. Lots and lots of love. Speak soon. See you next week.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
Bye.
And
Bye.
bye.